Have you noticed that the harder you push, the further away things seem to drift? It's like swimming upstream, fighting against a current that only grows stronger. The more effort you put in, you end up exhausted, breathless, and yet no closer to where you wanted to go. And here's the surprising part. It's not because you're lazy, or lacking discipline, or that you're somehow broken. It's because most of us have been taught to transform our lives through force, through resistance, through a battle with reality itself. But there's another way, a way that doesn't require you to struggle against the tide. Imagine instead that you turn around and let the river carry you. Imagine realizing that the water was always meant to support you, not fight you. That's what I want to share with you today. The path of release, of allowing, of harmonizing with life, rather than wrestling it into submission. When we stop trying to bend reality, with our fists clenched, something remarkable happens. The noise quiets down, the confusion softens, and the very energy we've been scattering through fear and control begins to settle, like sand falling gently to the bottom of a glass of water. What was murky becomes clear. Science actually confirms this. Every thought you hold creates a measurable electromagnetic field. Every emotion ripples through your nervous system, shaping your heart rhythm, your brain waves, even the way your lungs draw in air. When you are stressed, worried, or clinging to outcomes, your inner state becomes chaotic. Your heart beats in jagged rhythms. Your breath grows shallow. Your brain scatters into fragmented signals. It's what scientists call incoherence. And incoherence doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it scrambles the signal you're broadcasting into the world around you. Picture trying to tune into your favorite radio station, but two other stations are bleeding into the same frequency. You can't hear the music clearly. It's just noise. That's exactly what happens when your words say, "I am ready," but your energy whispers, "I am afraid." The quantum field, this vast sea of potential that responds to vibration, doesn't hear your intentions. It hears your frequency. And if your frequency is scrambled, life reflects that back. So what does coherence feel like? It feels like your mind, heart, and body finally exhale together. It feels like your inner orchestra tuning into the same key, with a few conscious breaths, with a spark of genuine gratitude, with the courage to let go of how and when. Your system returns to harmony. Your heart beats in smooth waves. Your brain synchronizes. Your whole being radiates a clear signal. And when that signal stabilizes, life has no choice but to respond in kind. Ancient traditions have known this truth for thousands of years. Yogis spoke of samadhi, that state of inner unity where the mind grows still. Taoist sagas described wu wei, effortless action moving with the current of life, not against it. Christian mystics surrendered personal will so they could align with divine will. They may have used different language, but they were pointing to the same thing. The moment we stop fighting reality, reality reorganizes itself to meet us in peace. And isn't that what you felt in those rare moments of surrender? Maybe you've been trying to fix a problem for weeks, and then one day, tired of forcing it, you simply let go, and suddenly, the phone call comes. The door opens. The solution you couldn't imagine walks into your life as if it had been waiting all along. That's not coincidence. That is coherence. Think of it like an artist at work. The beginner grips the brush tightly, forcing every stroke. Frustrated, when the picture doesn't match their mind, the master holds the brush lightly, allowing the hand to flow, open to surprises that emerge on the canvas. The master has learned to collaborate with the paint, not dominate it. Life is the same. When we grip too tightly, we choke possibility. When we soften our grip, the masterpiece begins to reveal itself. Now, I'm not saying this path will erase all challenges. Life will still present storms. The difference is that when coherence becomes your baseline, You meet those storms with a steadiness that no longer collapses. You breathe through the fear. You observe the doubt. You notice the anxiety, but you no longer become it. You return to center more quickly, like a tree that bends with the wind, but does not break. And as your energy stabilizes, something extraordinary happens in your outer world. Synchronicities multiply. Opportunities arrive from places you never expected. Relationships recalibrate, some drift away, while others appear with surprising ease, carrying the resonance of mutual support and love. Even your body responds. Sleep becomes deeper. Tension releases more quickly. Energy steadies throughout the day. You are no longer running on adrenaline and survival mode. You're moving from alignment. This shift is not about pretending to be positive all the time. It's not about manufacturing joy. If you're anxious, start there. If you can't find gratitude for the whole world, start with gratitude for the chair beneath you, the air entering your lungs, the fact that you're here right now. Authentic emotion, no matter how small, has more power than forced emotion, dressed up as good vibes. And yes, obstacles will appear. You'll be tempted to use this practice as a tool to manipulate results. You'll catch yourself watching every thought, panicking that a single worry has ruined your vibration. You might expect instant fireworks, only to feel disappointed when change comes quietly. In whispers, these are the traps, but they are also part of the training. Each time you notice yourself slipping, and you choose gently, without judgment, to return to breath, to return to presence, you are rewiring your nervous system. You are building resilience. You are proving to yourself that peace is always available. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. One workout doesn't transform you overnight, but every repetition builds capacity. Every small choice to release control and return to coherence is like lifting a weight for the soul. Over time, the weight that once crushed you no longer does. You stand taller, lighter, clearer. And here's the paradox. When you no longer demand results, when you stop micromanaging reality, results often come faster and more beautifully than you could have scripted, because you've become the frequency of what you desire. And the quantum field, the fabric of reality itself, cannot help but respond. So, I invite you now, just for a moment, to pause. Place a hand over your heart if you can. Take a slow, conscious breath. Imagine a soft light filling your chest, expanding with every exhale until it surrounds your entire body. And ask yourself, without searching for an answer, what would it feel like if I completely trusted this process? Don't think about it. Feel it. Maybe your shoulders drop. Maybe a warmth spreads through your chest. Maybe there's just the smallest sense of ease. That is coherence beginning to emerge. That is the field responding to your authenticity. This is not a quick fix, not a trick to get what you want tomorrow. It's a way of living, a way of relating to yourself, to life, to the infinite possibilities around you. And it doesn't end with you. Every time you cultivate coherence, you ripple it into the collective field. Your peace becomes someone else's permission to soften. Your alignment becomes someone else's reminder that it's possible. So as you move through the rest of your day, remember this. You don't need to prove anything to the universe. You don't need to force doors open. You only need to tune yourself like an instrument, like a river flowing, like a heart finding its rhythm again. When you do, life aligns. The current carries you, and what once felt impossible begins to arrive with a grace that almost feels miraculous. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Thank you for your willingness to trust, to soften, to experiment with the power of coherence. Continue to return, breath by breath, moment by moment. To this simple truth, the quantum field responds not to what you demand, but to who you are. And when who you are becomes harmony, life becomes harmony in return. 1. The science and energy principle. There is a truth that both ancient wisdom and modern science now whisper in harmony. Your thoughts and emotions are not locked away inside your skull, nor are they fleeting shadows that vanish into nothing. They are forces, living signals extending beyond you, weaving themselves into the fabric of reality itself. Neuroscience and quantum physics are beginning to confirm what mystics, sages, and poets have always sensed: the inner state of a human being is not just private experience. It is a broadcast. Think of the heart. It does more than pump blood. Researchers in neurocardiology have discovered that your heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in your entire body, 60 times more powerful than the electrical signals of your brain. This field extends several feet in every direction, enveloping you like an invisible aura, and it can be measured with sensitive instruments. When you feel gratitude or calm, that field arranges itself into smooth, coherent waves. When you are anxious or resentful, it becomes jagged, chaotic, fragmented. Your thoughts, too, are not idle. Every neural firing generates microcurrents of electricity. Collectively, they radiate beyond your skull, a faint but detectable hum of energy. Brain waves can be charted, mapped, and correlated with states of mind: alpha waves for relaxed focus, beta waves for active thinking, delta waves for deep rest. What fascinates scientists, and what humbles those of us who listen closely, is that these patterns shift immediately in response to your inner atmosphere. Fear scatters the rhythm. Calm brings it into harmony. This is what coherence means. Imagine an orchestra warming up before a concert, each instrument playing its own notes, creating a discordant noise that is incoherence. Now imagine the conductor raising their hands, the players falling into rhythm, and suddenly music flows, a unified signal. That is coherence. Your body is the same. Stress, worry, and control are like the random noise before the conductor arrives. Conscious breath, genuine appreciation, and trust invite your inner orchestra to play as one. When coherence arises, your whole system reorganizes. Your heart sends steady signals to your brain, and the brain responds with clarity. Your breathing deepens. Stress hormones, like cortisol, decrease, while beneficial hormones such as DHEA increase. You feel lighter, clearer, more centered. And this is not just for your personal well-being. Coherence amplifies the signal you send into the quantum field, the vast ocean of possibility where matter, energy, and consciousness intertwine. Quantum physics teaches us that reality at its most fundamental level is not solid. Atoms are not hard little balls. They are vibrating probabilities, clouds of potential that only collapse into tangible form when observed, measured, or influenced. This is where the mysterious overlap with human consciousness appears. What you consistently project, the vibrational signal of your thoughts and emotions, becomes a kind of observation that shapes what emerges from the field. But here is the subtlety many overlook. The field does not respond to your words alone, nor even to your intentions stated with passion. It responds to your baseline frequency, the emotional music you return to when no one is watching. You might affirm 1,000 times, "I am at peace." But if your nervous system is still pulsing with survival mode, the field registers that tension more clearly than your words. Incoherence cannot disguise itself. It radiates, just as coherence does. Let me put it in simpler terms. Imagine trying to have a heartfelt conversation in a room where heavy machinery is running. Your voice gets drowned out in the clamor. This is what happens when you are desperate, impatient, or consumed by fear. Your desires are like words whispered into the roar of static. They cannot be heard clearly. But when you calm the machinery, when you turn down the noise of control and anxiety, suddenly your voice carries. The universe hears you. This is why inner alignment matters more than sheer effort. You can work endlessly, push, strategize, plan, and still feel like nothing moves forward. That's because beneath the effort, your frequency is muddled. But when you pause, breathe deeply, and allow gratitude to soften your chest, something subtle but profound shifts. The noise dissolves, your frequency becomes clear, and coherence, this state of inner harmony, sends a strong, unmistakable signal into the field of possibilities. Scientists call this psychophysiological coherence. Mystics simply called it prayer, meditation, surrender. Whatever language you choose, the reality is the same when your heart, mind, and body flow together. You tap into a power greater than your own willpower. You align with the intelligence of life itself. Now, I want to be honest. This does not mean you will never face difficulty. Stress will still visit. Fears will still knock at your door. Doubts will still whisper. But coherence gives you the ability to return home quickly. You begin to recognize incoherence for what it is. Temporary turbulence, not the truth of who you are. Instead of drowning in it, you observe it, breathe through it, and gently guide yourself back. Imagine a river again. When storms stir up the water, debris floats, and the surface grows rough. But underneath, the current continues, steady and strong. Your coherence is that deeper current. No matter the turbulence above, the flow beneath remains. And when you learn to sink your awareness into that flow, life no longer feels like constant struggle. You stop swimming upstream. You allow yourself to be carried. This is not mystical fantasy. It is measurable science and lived experience. Coherence creates stability in your electromagnetic field. Stability creates clarity. Clarity shapes how the quantum field responds. And the outer world begins to shift in resonance with your inner harmony. Think about the times you've walked into a room and felt tension hanging in the air, even before anyone spoke. Or the times you've been near someone calm and immediately felt your own nervous system relax. That is coherence and incoherence at work. Energy fields influence one another. Your coherence doesn't stay confined within your skin. It radiates outward, entraining others. Just as a tuning fork causes another nearby to vibrate at the same pitch. This is why cultivating coherence is not selfish. It is a gift you give to the people around you. When you regulate your breath, soften into gratitude, and release the grip of control, your presence changes. Others feel it. Conversations soften. Tensions ease. Possibilities open. You become not just a participant in life, but a conductor in the symphony of reality. And perhaps the most humbling truth of all is that you do not need perfection for this. You don't need to eliminate every negative thought or hold bliss without interruption. Coherence is not about living in constant ecstasy, it's about returning, again and again, to harmony. Like tuning an instrument, it requires adjustments, not punishment, and every adjustment strengthens your capacity. So, the principle is simple. Your inner state is not private. It is energetic. Stress, fear, and control. Scatter your signal. Breath, gratitude, and trust unify it. Coherence is the difference between shouting into static and singing into silence. And when you sing clearly, the universe responds with harmony. 2. Transformation comes from the ability to transform difficult emotions. Most of us have been taught to run from our uncomfortable emotions. Fear, doubt, shame, grief. These are treated as intruders, as flaws to be hidden, or as storms we must wait out until they pass. But here is the paradox I've learned. Not from books, but from walking through my own shadows, the very emotions we try hardest to escape are often the ones carrying the key to our freedom. I used to believe that progress meant eliminating fear, silencing doubt, conquering sadness. I thought spiritual growth was about holding on to light so tightly that the darkness could never creep in again. But life, in its wisdom, showed me otherwise. No matter how hard I tried to block fear, it always returned. No matter how much I fought against grief, it clung tighter. It wasn't until I stopped resisting that things began to change. Here's the truth. Emotions are not enemies. They are messengers. Fear arrives to tell us where we've built walls of protection. Doubt shows us where trust has not yet taken root. Anger points to where our boundaries have been crossed. Sadness opens the door to what we truly value. When we treat these emotions as intruders, we miss their gifts. When we allow them to sit with us without judgment, without rushing them away, they release their energy, and the tight knots inside us begin to loosen. Think of it like this. Imagine a child knocking on your door, crying. If you slam the door in their face because their tears make you uncomfortable, the child doesn't disappear. They cry louder, banging harder, desperate for someone to listen. That is what happens when you suppress fear, shame, or grief. They don't vanish. They grow louder inside you, manifesting as anxiety, tension, even physical illness. But if you open the door, kneel down, and say, "I see you. You are safe here," the crying eases. The child softens. The storm begins to pass. Your emotions work in exactly the same way. Suppression bonds energy. Acceptance releases it. When you allow yourself to sit quietly with fear, you'll notice it begins to shift. At first, it feels sharp, overwhelming, like a storm that might break you. But if you breathe, if you stay present, the intensity softens. The storm has less power when you stop running from it. Fear, when embraced, often reveals a tender desire underneath the desire to be safe, to be loved, to belong. The same is true of doubt. Doubt feels like an enemy at first, mocking your dreams, whispering that you are unworthy. But if you sit with it long enough, if you ask, "What are you trying to protect me from?" you'll discover that doubt is often just fear in disguise. It is the mind's attempt to shield you from disappointment. And when you see it that way, you can thank doubt for trying to help, while also choosing not to let it run your life. This act of acceptance is not passive resignation. It is not wallowing in fear or drowning in grief. It is conscious presence. It is sitting in the fire without needing to put it out immediately. And something miraculous happens in that space. The fire burns away the illusions. What remains is clarity. Let me share a simple practice. Next time you feel an uncomfortable emotion, say, anxiety, tightening your chest. Pause. Place a hand over that area. Breathe deeply. Instead of saying, "I shouldn't feel this," try whispering, "It's okay that this is here." Imagine you are sitting with a friend who is trembling. You wouldn't shame them for shaking. You'd sit beside them until the shaking subsided. Offer yourself that same compassion. When you do this, you are not indulging fear. You are transforming it. Energy that has been locked away begins to move again. Tears may come. A tremor may pass through your body. Your breath might deepen. This is release. This is healing. Quantum science gives us a fascinating lens on this. Every suppressed emotion is like energy trapped in a closed circuit. It continues to loop, feeding itself, creating static in your electromagnetic field. That static interferes with the clear signal you wish to broadcast. But when you allow the emotion to move to be felt fully without resistance, the circuit opens. Energy flows. The static dissolves. Your frequency becomes clearer. In this way, acceptance is not only a psychological relief, it is a quantum recalibration. I remember a period in my life when grief weighed on me like a heavy stone. I tried everything to escape it: distraction, busyness, even spiritual bypassing, telling myself, I should be grateful, I should be strong, but the stone only grew heavier. One night, too tired to fight anymore, I simply sat in silence and let the grief pour through me. Tears came without words. My body shook. And then, something unexpected. The grief softened into love. Beneath the sorrow was love for what I had lost. Love so deep it hurt. In feeling the grief fully, I was reunited with that love. The stone didn't vanish, but it no longer crushed me. I could carry it with gentleness. This is the freedom acceptance brings. Not the erasure of difficulty, but the transformation of your relationship with it. Think of emotions as waves on the ocean. When you resist them, it's like bracing against a wave. It knocks you down, drags you under. When you allow them, you float. You rise and fall with the water, but you no longer drown. And here's something liberating. You don't need to fix or analyze every emotion. You don't need to make fear go away or turn sadness into joy on command. All you need to do is allow them to exist without judgment. In doing so, you create space. And in that space, they transform naturally. Many people are afraid that if they stop fighting their emotions, they will be consumed by them forever. But in truth, the opposite happens. The moment you say yes to an emotion, yes, fear, you can be here. Yes, grief, I will sit with you. It begins to lose its grip. Emotions are like guests. When you acknowledge them, they don't need to keep pounding on the door. They come, they share their message, and then they leave. In this sense, every difficult emotion is an invitation. Fear invites courage. Doubt invites trust. Grief invites love. Anger invites boundaries. When you meet the invitation, you grow. And what grows inside you is inner freedom. Because freedom is not the absence of storms, it is the ability to stand in the rain without collapsing. Freedom is not never feeling fear. It is knowing that fear does not control you. As you practice this, you'll notice your external life shifting as well. Relationships deepen, because you are no longer hiding your inner world behind walls of suppression. Creativity flows, because energy once bound in resistance is now available for expression. Opportunities arise, because your frequency is clearer, no longer scrambled by unacknowledged tension. This is the path of transformation through difficult emotions. It is not glamorous. It is not always easy, but it is real, and it is deeply human. So the next time fear knocks, open the door. Sit with it. Listen. The next time grief visits, let it weep in your arms. The next time doubt whispers, thank it for trying to protect you, and then return to trust. Every time you choose presence over resistance, you reclaim energy that has been locked away. Every time you allow rather than suppress, you move closer to coherence. And in that coherence, life flows differently. You stop being at war with yourself. You stop running from your own heart. You begin to live not as someone forever repairing brokenness, but as someone free to feel, free to trust, free to love. 3. The principles of practicing quantum shifting. The first time you hear the phrase quantum shifting, it might sound like something complicated, maybe even unreachable. But I want you to know it is not about performing magic tricks, nor about forcing yourself into constant positivity. It is about remembering what your body and spirit already know, the natural rhythm of harmony. And the doorway into this practice is often far simpler than we imagine. You don't need to fake joy, or plaster a smile over pain, or repeat affirmations that don't resonate. You don't need to pressure yourself into being high vibe every second of the day. The truth is much gentler. It begins with one slow, conscious breath. It begins with noticing, right here and now, that you are alive, that your lungs are filling, that your heart is still beating. That simple awareness, without pretense, is enough to open the door. Take that breath with me now. Wherever you are, inhale slowly through your nose, allowing your chest to soften. Feel the air expand into your belly. Hold it for a moment. Not with strain, but with presence. Then release it gently, as though you are letting go of everything that no longer serves you. That exhale carries more than air, it carries release. This is where the principle of quantum shifting begins, with authenticity, not with pretending to feel something you don't, not with chasing a vision of perfection, but with the courage to meet yourself as you are and to choose, in that moment, the gentlest step toward coherence. For some, that step is gratitude, not a grand, overwhelming gratitude that feels like a performance, but something small and real. Maybe it's gratitude for the chair that supports you, for the ground beneath your feet, for the breath that flows without your command. Gratitude does not have to roar. Sometimes it's a whisper, and whispers, when true, are more powerful than shouts that are forced. As you allow that gratitude to expand, your body begins to shift. Scientists call it regulation of the nervous system. Mystics call it returning home. Your heart finds rhythm, your mind quiets, your energy stops scattering and begins to collect, and in that moment, you are already practicing quantum shifting. This practice rests on three simple but profound principles: breath, curiosity, and surrender. Breath calms your physiology. It reminds your body that it is safe. When your body feels safe, your heart and brain synchronize. Signals of harmony ripple through your system, and suddenly you are no longer reacting. You are responding. Curiosity replaces desperation. Instead of grasping at outcomes with clenched fists, you soften your hands and ask, what would it feel like if life was already supporting me? Curiosity is gentle. It doesn't demand. It explores, and that exploration opens space for possibilities you couldn't have forced. Surrender is the courage to let go of how and when things should unfold. It does not mean giving up. It means releasing your attachment to control and allowing life to flow through you rather than being strangled by your plans. Surrender is trust. Trust that the same intelligence that spins galaxies and orchestrates seasons can also guide your next step. When you weave these three principles together, quantum shifting is no longer a theory. It becomes embodied. It becomes a felt reality, alive in your breath, your cells, your presence. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a man sitting at his desk. Late at night, papers are scattered, deadlines loom, and his chest feels tight with anxiety. He whispers affirmations. I am calm. I am successful, but his body doesn't believe them. His heart pounds. His mind races. His breath is shallow. This is incoherence. The words are one signal, but the nervous system is sending another, louder one. Now imagine instead that he stops. He closes his eyes. He takes one deep, intentional breath. He feels the air expand, then slowly leave his body. He places his hand over his heart, not to control it, but to connect with it. He remembers one thing. He is genuinely grateful for his child's laughter earlier that day. He lets that memory soften him. In that moment, his heart rhythm shifts. His brain waves begin to synchronize. The scattered noise inside him eases into order. That is coherence. And from coherence, his signal to the quantum field is clear. This is not about perfection. He may return to stress minutes later, but each time he chooses the breath, the gratitude, the surrender, he is training his nervous system. He is building coherence as a habit, not just as an occasional accident. That is the heart of this practice, not doing it once, but returning to it again and again, until harmony becomes your natural baseline. Here's another image. Think of tuning a guitar. When one string is off, the whole instrument sounds discordant. You don't throw the guitar away. You tune the string. You adjust it gently, again and again, until resonance emerges. Quantum shifting is tuning your inner string's breath, heart, mind until the music of your being matches the song of life itself. Sometimes people ask me, But what if I don't feel grateful? What if I can't surrender? What if my mind is too loud? And I tell them, start where you are. Gratitude does not need to be grand. Find something as small as the breath you're taking right now. Surrender does not mean erasing your plans. It means loosening your grip enough to let life surprise you. And if your mind is loud, let it be loud while you breathe anyway. You don't have to silence the noise. You only need to not become it. I have seen people transform through this practice. A woman overwhelmed by grief who found, through gentle breathing and small moments of gratitude, that her sorrow began to move, revealing love beneath it. A businessman who had lived by control and force, and who discovered that when he loosened his grip and trusted, his company grew in ways his strategies never achieved. An artist who had doubted herself for years, but who learned that by aligning her breath and heart before creating, her work flowed freely, authentic and alive. The power of quantum shifting is not that it delivers miracles on command, but that it restores you to the frequency where miracles become possible. Every time you return to breath, every time you choose curiosity over fear, every time you surrender your need to control the timeline, you shift. And that shift, though small at first, ripples outward. Your body feels it. Your relationships feel it. The quantum field responds. It is not about effort, it is about alignment. Not about pushing, about allowing. Not about pretending, about authenticity. So begin simply, take a breath, feel the gratitude for something real. Ask the question, what would it feel like if I trusted this process? And let your body, not your mind, answer. Sometimes the answer is a softening in the chest. Sometimes it's a tear. Sometimes it's simply a sense of ease that was not there a moment before. That is the shift. Do not underestimate these small beginnings. They are seeds. And as you water them with practice, they grow into coherence, into freedom, into the life you were meant to live. Not one manufactured by force, but one born through harmony. 4. Living coherence as a habit. Coherence is not a finish line you reach and then rest upon. It is not some final state of perfection where nothing ever shakes you again. Instead, it is like breathing. You inhale, you exhale, and you return again and again to the rhythm that sustains you. In the same way, coherence is a rhythm of returning to presence, returning to the body, returning to the simple truth of being alive in this moment. It is not a grand achievement. It is a way of living. For many years, I thought of inner peace as a goal. I believed that if I meditated hard enough, healed long enough, practiced diligently enough, one day I would finally arrive at a permanent state of calm where fear and stress would never touch me again. But life has a way of humbling us. Challenges still came, fear still visited, old doubts still whispered. At first I thought this meant I was failing, that I had not practiced well enough. But over time, I began to see the truth. Falling out of coherence is not failure. It is part of being human. What matters is not that you never leave it, but that you learn to return to it. Every return strengthens the path home. Every time you notice yourself drifting into stress and gently choose to breathe again, you are laying down new pathways in your nervous system. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Spiritual traditions call it remembrance. Both point to the same truth: the more you return, the more coherence becomes your natural home. When you understand coherence this way, the pressure lifts. You no longer feel the need to be perfect, to hold yourself in bliss every hour of the day. You no longer shame yourself for slipping back into worry or frustration. You realize that even in those moments, you have the choice to come back, to breathe, to soften, and every time you do, you water the roots of harmony within you, like tending a garden. It is the steady daily care, not the one-time effort, that makes the flowers bloom. This practice of living coherence does not require hours of meditation or special rituals, though those may help. It reveals itself most powerfully in the small, ordinary moments of daily life. When you are washing the dishes and pause for one deep breath of gratitude, when you are stuck in traffic and remember to soften your shoulders instead of tensing, when you are about to argue and instead place your hand over your heart, breathing before you speak. These moments may seem insignificant, but they are the bricks from which a new foundation is built. They are how coherence moves from being something you do occasionally into something you are. I remember an argument with someone close to me. When emotions were high and words were sharp, my old pattern would have been to defend myself, to push harder, to try to win. But in that moment, something inside me whispered, "Pause." I took a breath. My hand rested over my chest. I didn't force peace. I didn't fake forgiveness. I simply returned to coherence. And in that simple act, the energy shifted. My words softened. The argument dissolved. We moved from tension to understanding, not because I controlled the other person, but because I returned to myself. That is the quiet power of coherence. As a habit, it reshapes not only your inner world, but every interaction you touch. The body begins to change when coherence becomes a habit. At first, you may need to remind yourself consciously to breathe, to soften, to choose gratitude. But over time, your body remembers on its own. Your breath naturally deepens. Your heart rhythm steadies more quickly. Your muscles release tension without you commanding them. Just as repeated exercise trains the body to grow stronger, repeated coherence trains the nervous system to return to calm. Eventually, what once felt like effort begins to feel like the most natural thing in the world. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. 10 minutes of practice every day will shape you far more than a single hour once a month. The body responds to repetition. It learns from what you do often, not from what you do occasionally. And coherence is not only for you. The field you radiate touches others. You know this already. You have walked into a room and felt the tension without a word being spoken. You have sat with someone calm and felt yourself relax in their presence. Your coherence becomes a gift to those around you. When you choose harmony, you invite others into it without saying a word. Families soften. Relationships deepen. Even strangers respond differently when you walk in with steady presence. You become like a tuning fork, and others, consciously or not, begin to vibrate with you. Living coherence as a habit also changes the way life itself feels. The urgency fades. The constant need to control softens. You begin to notice synchronicities, those small bays, meaningful coincidences that remind you the universe is listening. A phone call at the right time. A door opening where you least expected. A piece of guidance arriving just when you needed it. These moments are not random. They are signs that your clear signal is being heard, that the field around you is reorganizing itself to reflect your inner state. The more coherence becomes your habit, the more naturally these alignments occur. I want you to know this. Every return matters. Every small breath of awareness. Every tiny spark of gratitude. Every moment you choose to soften instead of control. These are the threads that weave coherence into your life. Even if you think it is not enough, even if you slip again and again, the practice of returning plants seeds each time. And over time, those seeds grow into a forest of resilience. Freedom is not found in never losing your balance. It is found in knowing how to come back. Coherence is not a prize you win. Once it is the way you live, when you remember who you truly are. You don't need to chase it or force it. You simply need to keep returning, moment after moment, until one day you realize you are not practicing anymore. You are simply living. 5. Signs of energy transformation. When your energy begins to shift, you don't always notice it right away. You may expect lightning bolts, sudden miracles, or dramatic revelations. But in truth, The signs of transformation are often quiet, subtle, and deeply human. They don't arrive with fireworks, they arrive like the soft dawn, slowly illuminating what was once hidden in the dark. Transformation is not about a single grand event. It is about the gradual stabilization of your vibration, a steady settling into coherence until it becomes the ground you walk on every day. One of the first signs you may notice is within your body. Sleep becomes easier, deeper, more restorative. Nights that were once restless start to feel like sacred journeys of renewal. You wake not with heaviness, but with a soft clarity, as if your body has been quietly repairing itself. This is no accident. When your energy field is coherent, your nervous system shifts from survival mode into a state of restoration. Stress hormones like cortisol ease, while your body's natural healing responses activate. What once felt like exhaustion begins to give way to balance. Along with sleep, you may notice changes in the way your body carries itself through the day. Breath deepens without you forcing it. Shoulders drop. Muscles release tension that you didn't even realize you were holding. A subtle vitality begins to flow through you. Not the jittery rush of adrenaline, but a steadier current, like a river, moving gently but powerfully beneath the surface. Your body becomes a mirror of your inner alignment. The more harmonious your vibration, the more your body reflects that harmony back to you. Your mind, too, begins to change. The endless chatter softens. Worries that once felt urgent lose their grip. You may still hear the old voices of fear and doubt, but they no longer control the whole stage. Instead, they become like background noise you can notice without obeying. Clarity rises where confusion used to reign. Decisions emerge with less struggle. Creativity flows more naturally, unblocked by the weight of self-doubt. This mental spaciousness is one of the clearest signs that your energy has shifted. You are no longer imprisoned by thought. You are supported by it. Then there are the outer signs, the synchronicities. These are the moments when life seems to whisper back to you. Yes, I hear you. You think of a friend and they call. You ask for guidance, and a book falls into your hands at the right moment. You walk into a new space and encounter precisely the opportunity you were seeking. Without even looking, some might call these coincidences, but when they begin to multiply, when they string together like pearls on a thread, you begin to see them differently. They are reflections of your coherence. When your signal is clear, the quantum field responds with clarity, arranging events and people around you in ways that feel nothing short of magical. Relationships also begin to shift. People who resonated with your old patterns of stress, control, or fear may naturally drift away. Not with bitterness, but with a gentle sense of completion. At the same time, new people appear, those who match your new frequency, who bring support, kindness, and alignment into your life. Conversations deepen. Old conflicts resolve with unexpected ease. You find yourself drawn into circles of connection that nurture you instead of depleting you. This is not because you forced others to change, but because your energy has changed, and life reflects it back through the people who surround you. As your energy stabilizes, even challenges take on a new tone. Obstacles do not vanish, but they no longer crush you. You meet them with more patience, more resilience, more perspective. A delay that once sent you into panic becomes an opportunity to pause and realign. A rejection that once wounded your sense of worth becomes a redirection towards something better. You begin to realize that transformation is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of a new response. You stop reacting from fear and start responding from trust. That shift alone changes everything. Another sign is the quiet birth of trust inside you. Not the fragile trust that depends on everything going well, but a deeper, cellular trust that whispers, I am held, I am supported, I am enough. You no longer seek constant validation from outside. You don't need the world to prove your worth, because you feel it rising from within. This trust is magnetic. It draws opportunities toward you, not because you are chasing them, but because you are living in alignment with them. There may also be changes in your emotional landscape. Emotional storms still come, but they pass more quickly. You may notice that you no longer drown in anger or despair the way you once did. You can observe them, breathe with them, and let them move through you. The valleys do not feel as deep, and the peaks of joy feel steadier, less fragile. This is not numbness. It is resilience. It is the ability to stay rooted, even as the winds of life blow. Sometimes the signs are even subtler. A gentle joy in small things. A sense of presence when sipping tea, watching the rain, hearing a bird's song. A quiet awe that life is happening now, and you are part of it. These simple moments, once overlooked, begin to shine. They are evidence that your vibration has shifted from survival to presence, from control to allowing. Perhaps the most profound sign of all is this: you begin to recognize yourself again, beneath the layers of fear, beneath the striving and the masks. You discover a self that feels familiar, like an old friend you had forgotten. It is the self that knows how to be still, how to love, how to trust. This is who you have always been. Energy transformation doesn't give you something new. It reveals what was always there, waiting beneath the noise. I remember a time when I thought transformation would be like a thunderbolt, sudden, dramatic, undeniable. But life taught me differently. Transformation is more like the seasons. At first you notice a few leaves turning, a subtle chill in the air. Slowly, the landscape changes, until one day you look around and realize everything is different, though you didn't notice the exact moment it happened. Energy shifts the same way. It is the daily choice, the quiet practice, the gentle return to coherence that builds until the change is undeniable. And so, when you ask yourself, am I changing? Is this really working? Look for the subtle signs. Look at how your body rests more deeply. Look at how your mind softens its grip. Look at the coincidences aligning around you. Look at the people drawn into your orbit. Look at the way you meet life's difficulties with a steadier heart. These are the signs of transformation, not the fireworks of instant miracles, but the slow, steady settling of your vibration into harmony. Remember, this is not about perfection. You will still have restless nights, moments of fear, seasons of challenge. But the difference is that coherence has become a habit, and habits shape destinies. You return more quickly. You recover more gracefully. You trust more deeply. This is the proof of transformation. Not that life never tests you, but that you no longer lose yourself in the test. So trust the process. Trust the small signs. Trust the subtle shifts. Transformation is happening, whether or not you see it in dramatic ways. The field is listening. Your body is responding. Your relationships are evolving. You are not who you once were. You are not even who you were yesterday. With each breath, each choice, each moment of coherence, you are becoming more of who you truly are. 6. Spiritual traditions and the bridge with science. Long before laboratories and measuring devices, human beings already sensed something profound about life, that peace, surrender, and union with the greater whole were not luxuries, but necessities for the soul. Our ancestors turned toward practices like yoga, meditation, Taoist breathing, Christian prayer, or indigenous ceremonies, not because they were chasing novelty, but because they recognized that something in these practices restored them. These traditions all spoke of the same mystery, that when we stop forcing, when we let go of control, we encounter a deeper harmony that reorganizes everything around us. Yoga, for example, is not just about stretching the body or achieving difficult postures. At its heart, it is about union, bringing breath, mind, and spirit into alignment. The yogis discovered thousands of years ago that slowing the breath and focusing attention would lead to a calmer mind, a clear heart, and a sense of oneness with the whole of existence. They didn't need machines to measure this. They could feel it in their bodies, in their stillness, in the way their lives transformed. Taoist sages spoke of Wu Wei, the art of effortless action, the wisdom of moving with the flow of the river instead of against it. They taught that when you fight reality, you create suffering, but when you align with the current, life carries you with surprising grace. They saw the body as a microcosm of the cosmos, and breath as the bridge between the seen and the unseen. Their practices of breath, movement, and inner quiet were ways of tuning their inner rhythm with the greater rhythm of the Tao, the underlying order of all things. Christian mystics spoke of surrender not as weakness, but as strength. By releasing personal will, they opened themselves to divine will. Trusting that life was held in a larger intelligence, their prayers were not just words, they were acts of coherence, aligning their hearts in rhythms of gratitude, compassion, and presence. In those moments of surrender, they discovered peace that passes all understanding, a peace that was less about circumstances and more about the vibration of the soul. Indigenous ceremonies across the world, whether through drumming, chanting, or rhythmic breathing, created altered states of awareness where participants felt interconnected with one another and with the earth. These practices were not about escaping reality, but about entering it more deeply. They brought the heart, the breath, and the spirit into resonance, opening a shared field of coherence that bound communities together. For centuries, these traditions were dismissed by the modern mind as superstition, ritual, or symbolic gestures. But science has slowly caught up. Today we can measure what the ancients already knew. We can see, with electrodes and monitors, that the breath changes the heart rhythm. We can chart how meditation alters brain waves. We can detect the electromagnetic field of the heart extending far beyond the body. What the yogis, sages, mystics, and healers felt intuitively, science now describes as coherence. When you slow your breath, your heart rhythm shifts from jagged chaos into smooth, ordered waves. When you cultivate gratitude, compassion, or surrender, the brain synchronizes with the heart, creating a state of harmony, measurable in your physiology. Stress hormones drop, beneficial chemicals rise. Even the immune system responds. These are not vague feelings, they are biological realities. Science has even begun to observe how coherent states influence those around us. Studies show that when one person enters coherence, others nearby begin to synchronize with their heart rhythms and brain waves. It is as if our energy fields are constantly speaking to one another, whether or not words are exchanged. This explains why sitting with a calm elder can bring peace to an entire room, or why a group in meditation can alter the atmosphere of a community. The ancients would have said, "The heart speaks without sound." Today, researchers confirm that energy fields are not confined by skin. What is beautiful is the way science and spirituality now meet, not in opposition, but in resonance. Science gives us language, graphs, and evidence. Spirituality gives us meaning, practice, and the lived experience of connection. Together they affirm that the inner state is not trivial. It is the foundation of how we shape reality, both within and around us. I have felt this bridge personally in my darkest nights. When I sat trembling with fear or grief, I turned instinctively to breath, not because I read it in a journal, but because it was the only thing I could control. The inhale, the exhale. Slowly, I noticed my body softening, my thoughts slowing, my heart beating more steadily. In those fragile moments, I understood what the mystics meant by surrender. I wasn't fixing anything. I wasn't erasing pain. I was aligning. Later, I would learn that scientists call this coherence. But at the time, I only knew it as survival, as a small light in the dark. This is why I believe the convergence of science and tradition is so powerful. When life shakes us, it is not enough to be told, just be positive. What we need is practice, breath to ground us, gratitude to open us, surrender to free us. And now, with science at our side, we can see that these practices are not wishful thinking. They are physiological doorways into harmony. They are ways of training the nervous system, of tuning the instrument of the body to resonate with the music of life. And perhaps the deepest truth of all is that these practices are universal. You don't have to be a yogi in India, a Taoist sage in China, a monk in a monastery, or a healer in a village. Wherever you are, whatever you believe, the breath is with you, the heart is with you, the capacity for coherence is in you. So when you take a deep breath and feel your chest soften, know that you are participating in something ancient and eternal. You are not just calming yourself, you are aligning with the same wisdom that has guided humanity for millennia. You are walking in the footsteps of those who came before, and you are standing on the bridge where science and spirituality meet. This is not mysticism in the clouds. It is a truth grounded in your body, confirmed by instruments, and sanctified by experience. It is the recognition that coherence is not an invention of the modern age, but a remembrance of something. Humans have always known that when we let go of force, when we release control, when we surrender into harmony, we discover not only peace, but power. And this power is not the power to dominate life, but to dance with it, to move in step with the rhythms that are already there, to let the breath guide you, the heart steady you, the mind soften into clarity. This is what the ancients lived, and this is what science now confirms. Coherence is the meeting point of body, mind, and spirit with the quantum fabric of reality. It is the common ground between wisdom and measurement, between prayer and data, between soul and science. So let us not see science and spirituality as separate. They are two eyes, offering us depth of vision. With one eye, we see the measurable rhythms of heart and brain. With the other, we see the meaning of surrender and union. Together, they reveal the simple, profound truth that coherence is not just a practice for the few, but a way of life available to all. 7. Common obstacles on the path. The path of inner transformation is not smooth. It rarely unfolds like a straight line, nor does it obey the impatient timelines our minds demand. Many people step into this journey with great hope and excitement, but soon encounter obstacles that feel discouraging. They wonder if they are failing, if something is wrong with them, or if the practices simply do not work. In truth, these difficulties are not signs of failure at all. They are the very fabric of growth. One of the most common obstacles is the temptation to give up when discomfort arises. The mind is accustomed to quick rewards and instant gratification. When progress feels slow, when the body still holds tension, when the old emotions resurface, a voice whispers, "This isn't working." That voice is not truth. It is simply the echo of an old pattern. The nervous system resisting change because it fears the unfamiliar force, and real transformation rarely happens in a single breath or a single meditation session. It happens across many small returns, returning to the breath after wandering into thought, returning to the heart after sinking into fear, returning to presence after being pulled into anxiety. Each return is a victory, not a failure. Another obstacle is the tendency to manufacture emotions. People hear that gratitude, joy, or love are powerful states, so they try to force those feelings when they do not arise naturally. They paste a smile on their faces while their hearts remain heavy, hoping that pretending will trick the universe. But authenticity is the key. The quantum field, if we may borrow that language, does not respond to masks. It responds to coherence. And coherence comes from alignment, not pretense. If you are sad, let yourself feel sad with awareness. If fear rises, acknowledge its presence without judgment. In that honest observation, something begins to shift. Emotions are like weather. They move. They change. They clear on their own if not resisted. Pretending only prolongs the storm. Impatience is another snare. The modern world trains us to expect immediacy. A button is pressed. A result appears. A purchase is made. Delivery comes the next day. We carry that same mindset into inner work, expecting that a week of meditation will erase decades of conditioning. When results don't come on schedule, frustration grows. But the inner world is not Amazon. It is a garden. Seeds are planted and take time to sprout. Some days nothing seems to change. But beneath the soil, roots are spreading. Foundations are forming. Trusting the process is essential. Every breath, every moment of presence, every act of patience is watering the seed. Perfectionism also haunts many seekers. They believe they must never miss a practice, never feel anger, never slip into doubt, or else all progress is lost. This creates a rigid, self-punishing approach that strangles growth. In truth, reality does not demand perfection. It invites persistence. Even if you forget your breath 100 times in a day, the 101st return matters. Each return is training your nervous system, strengthening your frequency, even if it seems small. Just as a muscle grows not from lifting once but from repeated effort, the heart and mind grow resilient from repetition. What matters is not flawlessness, but the willingness to come back again and again. There is also the obstacle of comparison. Many people look at others and think, they are calmer than I am, they have more discipline, their lives transform faster. Comparison poisons the journey because it makes us believe we should be somewhere else, someone else, moving at a different pace. But your path is uniquely yours. The terrain of your life, the imprints of your past, the rhythm of your healing, all of these are different from anyone else's. To compare is like comparing the blooming of roses to the blooming of oak trees. Each unfolds in its own timing, in its own form. What matters is not how fast you change, but that you keep walking with sincerity. And then there is doubt, the quiet voice, asking, is any of this real? Doubt is natural? We live in a world that worships logic and dismisses the unseen. To trust that breath, gratitude, or presence could alter not just your mind, but your reality feels almost naive to the rational mind. Yet, look closely. Doubt itself is not an enemy. It is an invitation to explore deeper, to not take things blindly, but to discover for yourself. Doubt can be the beginning of wisdom if you allow it to refine you rather than paralyze you. Test the practices. Notice how your body feels after 10 minutes of calm breathing. Notice how your heart softens when you whisper gratitude sincerely. This is evidence, not theory. Slowly, doubt gives way to direct knowing. I know these obstacles intimately. I have faced each one. I have sat in meditation and wondered if anything was happening. I have tried to force gratitude when I felt nothing but heaviness. I have grown impatient, wanting the pain to vanish quickly. I have compared myself to others and felt small, and yes, I have doubted, sometimes deeply, but each time I returned even shakily, even clumsily to the breath, to the heart, to presence. I was rewiring something within me. The change was not sudden, but it was real. Over time, the storms grew quieter, the nights less heavy, the days more spacious. This is the truth I want you to carry. Obstacles are not proof of failure. They are proof that you are walking the path. Every time you feel resistance and still return to presence, You are training your nervous system in a new way of being. Every time you notice impatience but choose to breathe, you are anchoring a new frequency. Every time you drop the mask of forced positivity and simply allow yourself to be, you are aligning more deeply with truth. Think of it like training a wild horse. At first, it resists, thrashes, refuses to be guided. But with gentle persistence, not cruelty, not force, the horse begins to trust. Your nervous system is much the same. It has been trained for years to live in stress, control, fear. To expect it to shift overnight is unfair. But if you return with kindness again and again, it learns, it softens, it begins to trust the rhythm of presence. In this way, every obstacle becomes a teacher. Impatience teaches patience. Pretending teaches authenticity. Doubt teaches discernment. Comparison teaches self-acceptance. Perfectionism teaches humility. Resistance teaches perseverance. When you reframe obstacles as lessons, they lose their power to discourage you. They become milestones on the journey, proof that you are evolving. So when you face these common obstacles, and you will remember, you do not need to conquer them like enemies. You need only to meet them, breathe with them, and return once more to presence. One breath at a time, one moment at a time. This is how transformation takes root, not in dramatic breakthroughs, but in the quiet, steady rhythm of returning. And in the end, this steady rhythm is what changes everything. The nervous system is trained, the frequency is stabilized. Life begins to reflect the new coherence. The obstacles that once seemed heavy lose their grip. They still arise from time to time, but they no longer define you. They are clouds passing through a sky that has grown vast and open. So do not be discouraged by the bumps on the path. They are not detours. They are the path itself. Each return to breath, each act of gentle persistence, each surrender to the present moment is carving a new way of being into your heart and mind. Trust this, embrace this, and know that even in your stumbling, you are moving toward freedom. Living quantum shifting. Quantum shifting is not a quick technique you apply like a bandage. It is a way of living, a gentle practice of returning to alignment again and again. Many people approach this idea as if it were a trick, something that will change their circumstances overnight. But real transformation is not about outsmarting the universe or proving something to it. It is about softening, returning, and living as the frequency you wish to embody. Every choice to flow instead of force is a training. Every breath of gratitude is a signal. Every act of presence is a step deeper into coherence. Imagine a river. If you thrash and fight, the water will exhaust you. But if you float, if you surrender your body to its current, you discover that the river itself is carrying you. Life is much the same. The more we push, control, and demand, the more resistance we feel. But when we let go, when we choose alignment over struggle, we discover that reality itself begins to carry us. The shift is not dramatic fireworks. It is subtle at first, like a change in wind direction or a seed sprouting underground. But given time, it changes everything. This is why quantum shifting is best understood as a lifestyle, not a goal. It is the art of training body and mind to return to their natural state. The state before fear and stress distorted the rhythm. Each time you pause to breathe instead of panic, you are reminding your nervous system what peace feels like. Each time you choose gratitude over resentment, you are carving a new pathway in your brain, sending a new signal into the field. Each time you surrender instead of control, you are reteaching your heart how to trust. These may seem small, but small things repeated shape the entire fabric of a life. The real miracle of quantum shifting is not when something outside changes suddenly. The real miracle is when you realize you no longer need to grasp for proof. You no longer need to beg or bargain. You become the vibration of peace, of trust, of love. And then life, as if it were a mirror, rearranges itself to reflect that the world outside has no choice but to respond, because it is simply echoing what you carry within. I say this not as theory, but as someone who has stumbled and struggled. There were seasons when I tried to force my way into new realities. I spoke affirmations with a clenched jaw, desperate to make something happen. I prayed with fear in my chest, not with faith in my heart. I tried to manipulate energy instead of becoming it. Those efforts left me exhausted, not free. It was only when I began to soften, when I stopped trying to control outcomes and started training my inner state, that things shifted. Slowly, life began to mirror back. Peace instead of chaos. Trust instead of fear. Coherence instead of fragmentation. This is the quiet secret. The universe does not respond to your words as much as to your state. It does not reorganize itself because you shouted loud enough. It responds because you have become aligned, coherent, resonant with the reality you desire. That alignment is what carries the signal, not the force of will. So let us release the idea that we must prove something to the cosmos. You do not need to prove that you are worthy. You do not need to prove that you are positive enough. You do not need to prove that you have mastered every fear. All you need is the willingness to return to the breath, to presence, to gratitude over and over. Each return is a shift. Each return is a choice. Each return is a signal. And slowly, as these choices accumulate, you become the frequency itself. You are no longer trying to feel peace. You are peace. You are no longer trying to find love. You radiate it. You are no longer trying to force trust, you embody it. And when that happens, life's role is simple: to reflect you. Opportunities appear that align with your new frequency. Relationships shift or dissolve to mirror your vibration. Synchronicities emerge, not as random luck, but as natural byproducts of coherence. This is not fantasy. It is how energy works. Just as tuning forks resonate together, just as radio stations broadcast and receive according to frequency, so too does life. Your role is not to bend reality with sheer force, but to become the tuning fork, to embody the vibration you wish to live. Reality will respond, because it must. This is why quantum shifting is not about grand gestures. It is about daily choices, the choice to pause and breathe before reacting, the choice to notice beauty in a single moment, the choice to forgive instead of cling to resentment, the choice to return to gratitude when fear rises. These choices shape the nervous system, train the heart, align the mind. Over time, they create a new baseline. You no longer have to try. You simply live from the vibration, and reality mirrors it. So if you find yourself discouraged, remember this: the practice is not about perfection, but persistence. It is not about never falling, but about always returning. One breath is enough. One moment of gratitude is enough. One act of presence is enough. Layer upon layer, they accumulate until coherence is not something you practice, but something you are. The end of the journey is not a destination where life is flawless. The end is the realization that you are the vibration itself. You are no longer chasing alignment, you are living it. And from that state, everything else reorganizes. Life becomes less about controlling and more about receiving, less about demanding and more about flowing, less about fear and more about trust. If there is one truth I want you to take from this, it is this: quantum shifting is not about creating a perfect future. It is about remembering who you are now and living as that vibration. The rest unfolds naturally. The world will adjust. The mirror will reflect. The river will carry you. All you need is the courage to return, again and again, until coherence becomes your way of being. And when it does, you will see that what you were chasing was never outside you. It was always within. waiting for you to come home.